Dairy products, from creamy milk to tangy cheese, are staples in many diets around the world. But for some, these foods can trigger a symphony of uncomfortable symptoms, all thanks to a little sugar called lactose. This condition, known as lactose intolerance, arises from the body's inability to properly digest lactose. Lactose, the naturally occurring sugar in milk and dairy, requires a specific enzyme called lactase for its breakdown. Without sufficient lactase activity in the small intestine, lactose remains undigested, leading to a cascade of digestive woes. This undigested lactose becomes a feast for gut bacteria, producing gas, bloating, and abdominal cramps. Diarrhea, another frequent symptom, occurs as the undigested lactose pulls water into the colon, disrupting normal bowel movements. For those with lactose intolerance, even small amounts of dairy can trigger these unpleasant reactions. The severity of symptoms can vary widely, with some experiencing mild discomfort and others facing debilitating digestive distress. While lactose intolerance can be a lifelong condition, some individuals develop it temporarily, often after a bout of intestinal illness. This temporary intolerance can be perplexing, leaving individuals wondering why their once tolerated dairy favorites now cause digestive chaos. Understanding the underlying mechanisms behind temporary lactose intolerance can empower individuals to manage their symptoms and navigate their dietary choices.
Lactose intolerance, a common digestive disorder, can be a lifelong companion or a temporary visitor in our lives. While many individuals experience this condition due to genetic factors or underlying medical conditions, a significant portion encounters it as a transient issue, particularly after a bout of gastrointestinal distress. This temporary form of lactose intolerance, often referred to as secondary lactose intolerance, can arise from a variety of factors that disrupt the delicate balance of our gut. Gastrointestinal infections, commonly known as food poisoning, are notorious culprits behind temporary lactose intolerance. The inflammation and damage inflicted upon the lining of the small intestine during such infections can disrupt the production and activity of lactase, the enzyme responsible for lactose digestion. This enzyme deficiency, albeit temporary, can leave individuals grappling with the uncomfortable symptoms of lactose intolerance. Medications, particularly antibiotics, can also tip the scales towards temporary lactose intolerance. While antibiotics are invaluable in fighting bacterial infections, they can also wreak havoc on the delicate ecosystem of our gut microbiome. This disruption can lead to a decrease in lactase production, making it challenging to digest lactose-containing foods. In some cases, even surgery involving the small intestine can contribute to temporary lactose intolerance. Procedures that remove or bypass sections of the small intestine can impact lactase production, leading to difficulties in digesting dairy products. Understanding the transient nature of this condition and identifying the underlying causes can empower individuals to make informed dietary choices and seek appropriate medical advice.
Food poisoning, an unpleasant experience that often leaves us curled up in discomfort, can have lingering effects beyond the initial bout of nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. One such consequence, often overlooked, is the development of temporary lactose intolerance. This newfound sensitivity to dairy can be perplexing, especially for those who previously enjoyed milk, cheese, and other lactose-containing foods without issue. To understand this phenomenon, we must delve into the microscopic world of our small intestine. The lining of our small intestine is not a smooth, uniform surface. Instead, it's covered in tiny, finger-like projections called villi. These villi, in turn, are adorned with even tinier projections known as microvilli. This intricate, brush-like structure dramatically increases the surface area of our small intestine, maximizing its ability to absorb nutrients from our food. Lactase, the enzyme responsible for breaking down lactose, resides on the surface of these microvilli. When food poisoning strikes, the bacteria or viruses responsible for the illness often target the lining of our small intestine, causing inflammation and damage to these delicate villi and microvilli. This damage can disrupt lactase production, leading to a decrease in its activity. As a result, lactose, the sugar in dairy products, passes through the small intestine undigested, triggering a cascade of uncomfortable symptoms. Bloating, gas, abdominal cramps, and diarrhea become unwelcome companions as our gut grapples with this temporary inability to process lactose. The severity of these symptoms can vary depending on the extent of damage to the microvilli and the amount of lactose consumed.
In our digestive system, the small intestine is key in breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. Its lining is covered in millions of tiny, finger-like projections called villi, increasing the surface area for nutrient absorption. Imagine the villi as a microscopic forest lining the walls of your small intestine. Each villus is adorned with even tinier projections known as microvilli, resembling a delicate brush-like border. Lactase, the enzyme for digesting lactose, resides on these microvilli. These enzymes break down lactose into simpler sugars, glucose and galactose, for absorption. Gastrointestinal infections can disrupt this process, leading to temporary lactose intolerance. Harmful bacteria or viruses can inflame and damage the villi and microvilli. This damage reduces lactose production, leaving lactose undigested and causing discomfort.
The good news about temporary lactose intolerance is that it's just that, temporary. As your gut heals from the infection or irritation that caused the lactase deficiency, your body will gradually resume normal lactase production. The time it takes for your gut to fully recover and for your lactose tolerance to return can vary depending on the severity of the initial insult and individual healing rates. In most cases, individuals can expect their lactose tolerance to improve within a few weeks to a couple of months. During this recovery period, it's crucial to support your gut health by consuming a balanced diet rich in fiber, prebiotics, and probiotics. These dietary components nourish the beneficial bacteria residing in your gut, promoting a healthy microbiome that aids in digestion and nutrient absorption. Fiber, found abundantly in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, acts as a prebiotic, providing nourishment for the good bacteria in your gut. Prebiotics are essentially food for probiotics, which are live beneficial bacteria that contribute to a healthy gut microbiome. Probiotic-rich foods, such as yogurt with live and active cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, can help replenish and diversify the gut microbiota, supporting overall gut health. In addition to dietary interventions, staying adequately hydrated is essential for gut healing and recovery. Water helps flush out toxins, supports nutrient absorption, and promotes regular bowel movements. As your gut heals and lactase production resumes, you can gradually reintroduce small amounts of lactose-containing foods into your diet, carefully monitoring your tolerance.
Lactose intolerance, a common digestive disorder characterized by the inability to fully digest lactose, the sugar found in milk and dairy products, can manifest in two primary forms: temporary and permanent. Distinguishing between these two types is crucial for effectively managing symptoms and making informed dietary choices. Temporary lactose intolerance, often referred to as secondary lactose intolerance, arises from factors that disrupt the normal production or activity of lactase, the enzyme responsible for lactose digestion. This disruption is typically transient, resolving once the underlying cause is addressed. Common culprits behind temporary lactose intolerance include gastrointestinal infections, such as food poisoning, which can inflame and damage the lining of the small intestine, impairing lactase production. In contrast, permanent lactose intolerance, also known as primary lactose intolerance, stems from a genetically programmed decline in lactase production after infancy. This decline is a natural physiological process that occurs in a significant portion of the global population, particularly those of Asian, African, Hispanic, and Native American descent. As lactase production dwindles, the ability to digest lactose diminishes, leading to the onset of symptoms, often during childhood, adolescence, or early adulthood. Unlike temporary lactose intolerance, which typically resolves within a few weeks or months, permanent lactose intolerance is a lifelong condition. Individuals with permanent lactose intolerance may experience symptoms after consuming even small amounts of lactose, and the severity of symptoms can vary widely. Understanding the distinction between temporary and permanent lactose intolerance empowers individuals to seek appropriate medical advice, make informed dietary modifications, and manage their condition effectively.